Hi, I thought I'd just talk a little bit more about the paintings in STILLPOINT, my upcoming exhibition at Nanda Hobbs, which is a little bit ironic actually because when I have been working on these paintings in the last 12 months, I actually felt that I didn't really want to talk about them too much or write about them too much because I just really felt it's all about honing my visual language to really convey and express what I'm trying to do. But nevertheless, mostly we find ourselves needing to write artist statements, give talks, and be able to talk about our work. So, but again, the main thing is that the messages or the feelings are communicated just through the visual language, so through coming and looking at the work, I hope. So I titled this exhibition STILLPOINT. In the last year when I've been working on it, I just sort of probably was feeling a little bit the pressures and chaos of the world that we're living in at the moment was just sort of, it just seemed to be increasing. And I've always been one to kind of want to retreat into my studio and my own little world and create and sort of in a sense have a quieter life and be looking at the natural beauty in the world. So this year I just really wanted to, in a sense, retreat even further into the studio and really, find that still place, that quietness, that being still, being reflective, being calm, taking your time, really important aspect. And so then I started thinking about, I wanted this work to be very subtle, very quiet, and really start paring it back. And initially my ideas were to have pretty much a monochromatic show. And I think that was actually in some ways influenced by my love of charcoal drawing. I was remembering last night how a couple of years ago I just spent a whole year doing a charcoal drawing series called Rapture, where I really honed in on details of nature and but blew them up as really large drawings. And it was one of the most intense studio times I've had. I would work on those drawings for 10-12 hours a day for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, just one drawing at a time. Just start it and work all the way through till it was finished and give it as much time as it needed. And it just reconnected me with my, in a sense, my original yearnings and passions for wanting to be an artist, and really just in conversation with the visual language. And all I was thinking about was tone and lights, darks, subtle areas, really strong areas, detailed areas, mass areas, and I just was completely absorbed. So then I did a few little really small sort of paintings, just kind of 30 centimeters square, where I started to reduce my palette down to just 1 or 2 colors. They were quiet. They also enabled me to get right into detail, and that's when I started using this sort of 10/0 tiny paintbrush. And I found that I actually loved getting into the detail. And some of the foregrounds are just sort of done in either little tiny dots or little squiggles, and it actually reminded me of my very, very, very early work when I used to do a lot of work with ancient script and just sort of almost coded messages and looking at what remained. But I think it's about one of my sort of early intentions was about looking to the essence of things, which I guess comes from trying to find more meaning in life or more depth in our lives, and looking at how we're all connected as humans, as nature, as the universe, asking all the big questions and then honing it down into just essential elements and breaking it up and looking at that. So then when I came to be working on this show, it started with the painting behind me, which I've entitled STILLPOINT. And this one I love in that it's just It's got a lot of space around it, the tree. The tree is very detailed. The foreground's very detailed. But underneath that, there was layers and layers of gradient colour and tone work and glazing that was done prior, before a lot of the detail went on, and then overworking it. And it just, I really wanted it to just be, you know, it's a very sort of almost an Om painting, you know, just very centered, very calm, very still. And I'm super happy with it, actually. And so then I did worked on, in that way, on several other paintings, large and small and medium sizes, which you'll see in the show. And by the time I got to working on the seascapes, which were the coastal works, which were sort of towards the end of the show, they were initially intended to be in a similar monochromatic style. But I just found that the colour was starting to come back in again. But it's still, for me, that's still fairly subtle colour. And the way I work is just completely following my intuition and instinct. And if my intuition and instinct was going, nah, keep that colour in or whatever, then so be it. And I should, I guess, sort of preface all that with where I'm living in southwest Victoria. It's mostly sort of dairy farming landscape, and it's very wind blown. We get the winds and the weather straight off Antarctica, and you know, Warrnambool is right on the coast, so we have these incredible limestone cliffs and beaches all around us, you know, going down to the 12 Apostles and all around this area. So it's very dramatic landscape. So the wind and the seasons and the ocean, and then the dairy farming landscapes, and it's all sort of windswept and dotted with cypress trees, and they're almost like sculptures, you know, placed throughout the landscape. It's more wintry down here, I suppose, so that brings with it more mood, you know, and sort of very atmospheric. So all those things have fed into this work. And yeah, I don't really want to say too much more. I mean, just generally speaking, my oil paintings, each painting's worked on for about 3 months, and I build it up very slowly and gradually. There's lots of layers of glazes. There's now a lot of minute detail. It's paring things back. It's taking out the non-essential. I wanted these sort of most recent trees and landscapes to be a little bit more, in a sense, universal. They could be anywhere. I've taken out, in a sense, recognisable elements, and I've just sort of placed the tree in a sort of more ethereal space. And we get a lot of fogs and mist down here, so it's quite dreamy. And I think, you know, the combination of the really delicate work and the space and the light, they're all kind of, in a sense, inviting you in, and it gives you, I suppose, it's sort of a contemplative and a calm sort of sense, and that's hopefully to enable the viewer to do what I'm doing and sort of slow down, reflect, look inward, look out at nature, just be still, be quiet, have those moments, think about things. So yeah, I mean, the work is sort of, in a sense, it's always had a bit of a spiritual sort of element to me, but for me that sort of spirituality, in a sense, comes from connection to nature. And I think, you know, a lot of artists find that, and a lot of people find that. So yeah, we're just, you know, just following down that path. I want to, I think going forward, I would like to see the work reduced perhaps even more, to just sort of take it to another level. I mean, that's the thing about, you know, working and producing new bodies of work, is that you're always just trying to take it further and improve on it. So yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoy the show when it's opens in September 28th to October the 14th at Nanda Hobbs in Sydney.